Stop signs? Red lights? Who cares? Today's episode of Wham Bam Dashcam is full of drivers who think the rules don't apply to them, so buckle up. Jasper was on his way to an auto parts store when the driver of a Nissan Sentra suddenly decided that stop signs are merely suggestions. Jasper told us that the other driver immediately began yelling at him as if he was in the wrong, even telling other people who stopped a made-up version of events to get their support. By the time first responders arrived, the Nissan driver had convinced everyone that Jasper was responsible for the collision. But he just stayed quiet until he was able to show the police his dashcam footage. In the end, both insurance providers found the Nissan driver responsible, and Jasper was given a settlement of $18,000 for his totaled Volkswagen Jetta. Thankfully, Jasper wasn't seriously injured in the collision. Jasper said he and his family watch our videos every week, but he never thought he'd be sending us a dashcam video. If you've got footage to share, the submission link is in the video description. Miguel watched the driver of an SUV nearly sideswipe a Cadillac during a simultaneous merge, but thankfully it was only a close call. Surely the driver learned their lesson and paid attention after that, right? I guess not. The Toyota driver made another unsafe merge, this time without even signaling, before being struck by a concrete mixing truck and shoved into two other vehicles. Miguel stopped and made sure everyone involved was okay, and he got their contact details and later sent his footage to all four involved drivers. Thankfully, nobody was injured in the collision. Larry watched the driver of a company vehicle run a red light to make a left turn, but a Lexington police officer was also watching, and she wasn't about to let the scofflaw get away with that. Larry lost sight of the police SUV after the cop lit up her party lights and took off after the red light runner. But it didn't take long for him to come across it again, this time stopped with the other driver pulled over. Larry told us the officer was giving the SUV driver a special invite to City Hall. That's one way to refer to instant justice being served. This subscriber was waiting in traffic when he watched the driver of a black Audi SUV fly past him before forcing her way into traffic. It wasn't long before she thought she could cut around the truck right in front of her. But she misjudged the distance between her SUV and the truck's trailer, colliding with it and leaving a deep gash down the side of her SUV. She even lost a door handle, as our subscriber was able to confirm when he took this photo. He told us the Audi driver was able to force her way back into the lane, but for all that effort and damage, she ended up behind his Ford F-350. He just laughed at the situation as he continued. Emma and her mother were on their way home from a restaurant when the driver of a pickup truck suddenly turned left, directly toward a building. What they did next was very confusing.
What are you doing?
After turning and heading down oncoming lanes, the pickup driver got a good honk from a fire engine before they had a chance to turn into a driveway. This got the attention of a motorcycle cop who took off after the pickup. Emma and her mother celebrated the instant justice as they watched the police officer stop the pickup before continuing on their way home. We still can't tell what the pickup driver was doing. Was this a failed U-turn attempt, or did they think the building's front doors were actually a driveway, or what? If you think you know what prompted this strange maneuver, post your theory in the comments. Craig was approaching a construction zone when he noticed a Nissan Titan tailgating other drivers and swerving around traffic aggressively. Watch what happened as barriers closing the right lane began forcing traffic to merge. The pickup driver forced his way in front of Craig's Subaru Forester, nearly causing a collision that would have been the pickup driver's fault. Craig told us that his vehicle has company logos on it, so stuff like this happens all the time. Even so, at 70 years old, he's only been in one collision, for which he wasn't responsible. Head on a swivel, Craig. Vincent was jamming to music in his Chrysler 200 when the driver of a Mercedes SUV making a right on red turned into the wrong lane, his lane. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why you're required to turn into the nearest lane instead of cutting across lanes when turning. When a police officer arrived, Vincent showed him his dashcam footage. When the officer told the SUV driver that Vincent had video evidence, she admitted fault. Vincent told us she got a ticket while he got his car repaired by her insurance provider. This subscriber was headed home after a 10-hour graveyard shift when he made an illegal left turn at a dangerously high speed. Our subscriber told us that when his Honda Accord's bald tires hit a puddle in the intersection, he lost control before sliding into a curb. He also told us he doesn't usually run red lights, but he was in a hurry to get home. Mr. Nichols was driving carefully through a construction area when an SUV driver going the wrong way turned unexpectedly across his lane. Mr. Nichols said the SUV driver told him he was waved across by other drivers, so he thought turning would be fine. Maybe those other drivers were just telling him to get out of their way. Mr. Nichols is still dealing with the other driver's insurance provider, which is the same company that provides his insurance coverage. You'd think that would make things easier, but he told us it hasn't worked out that way. This subscriber was driving down an interstate highway when he watched a trucker up ahead suddenly cut across a lane to reach an exit, forcing an SUV to a complete stop to avoid a collision. Thankfully, no collision occurred, but our subscriber told us he could see the driver of the SUV was visibly fuming as he drove past her, which he completely understands. Tim and Sarah were waiting in traffic for a red light up ahead when the driver of the Ford Edge in front of them decided he needed to back up right into their Mazda CX-5.
Oh, idiot! What the are you doing, you Pull the over!
After both drivers had pulled over and police responded to the scene, the Ford driver accepted responsibility for causing the collision. His insurance provider will now be paying over $4,000 to repair their Mazda. Aaron spotted a Tesla behaving badly when a Model 3 driver cut across several lanes and a gore point to reach a highway on-ramp.
That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive.
The Tesla hit the curb as it swerved over to reach the on-ramp, throwing dirt and rocks into the air as it definitely damaged a rear wheel. I hope that reckless and illegal maneuver was worth it. Sean was waiting for a red light with his dog Mooks when they watched a minivan driver not wait. After the minivan struck an SUV, Sean stopped and gave a copy of his dashcam footage to the victim. Sean told us he got a dashcam after watching our videos. If you need one, check the description for our recommendations. Jeanette, who happens to be using one of the dashcam models we recommend and told us it's the best one she's owned by far, captured a close the gap moment. A sedan driver turned through a gap to reach a driveway, cutting off a cyclist in the bike lane who had the right-of-way. Thankfully, the cyclist was paying better attention and was able to stop before hitting the car. If the cyclist had collided with the turning car, the driver would have been found responsible and the cyclist could have been seriously hurt. Had the BMW driver ahead of Jeanette closed the gap, the whole situation would have been avoided. Giovanni was approaching a green light when the driver of a black pickup truck made an illegal right on red. Even though Giovanni slammed on his brakes, he couldn't avoid rear-ending the GMC Sierra. Giovanni told us the pickup driver immediately called the police and convinced them the collision was Giovanni's fault. When they arrived, officers cited Giovanni for causing the collision. The next day, he sent his dashcam footage to the pickup driver's insurance provider, and they immediately accepted liability and paid him for his totaled Subaru Impreza. Giovanni said, "Don't wait to get a dashcam." This one's a bit hard to see, but very satisfying. Sommer watched an SUV driver make a dangerous overtake in the oncoming lane before speeding away, but they had no idea that the Volvo right behind them was an unmarked cop. The officer eventually made their way behind the SUV before turning on the party lights and pulling it over. Sommer just kept driving with a big smile on her face as she watched the other driver get their serving of instant justice. Rurika was about to drive under a train bridge when she watched a pickup and a box truck joust each other using their side view mirrors. When the two drivers were forced to get a little too cozy by the narrow bridge underpass, the resulting collision obliterated the box truck's mirror and shattered the driver's window. Rurika was on her way to make a delivery and couldn't stop, but she's hoping the drivers might find her dashcam video here and it might be helpful to their insurance claims. Of course, this event happened in May and it's now December, but who knows? Maybe the insurance negotiation is still going on over 6 months later. Stranger things have happened. Ethan was driving his Mazda 3 when the driver of an SUV made a right on red ahead of him, illegally cutting him off and almost causing a rear-end collision. Boy, this seems awfully familiar. Way too many drivers don't realize that a right on red is only legal if you come to a complete stop and verify that traffic is clear before you turn into the nearest lane. Thankfully, in this case, Ethan was able to hit the brakes and his horn, preventing a collision. This subscriber was driving his Nissan 350Z when he decided to pass a box truck. During the overtake, the box truck suddenly swerved into his lane without warning. Even though our subscriber slammed on his brakes and honked, the box truck collided with his Nissan. The impact pushed it into the median barrier, damaging the other side of his car as well. Our subscriber told us he pulled onto the shoulder while the box truck driver stopped in the passing lane up ahead, causing several close calls with highway traffic. Thankfully, nobody was injured in the incident. The other driver's insurance provider accepted liability and paid $1,500 to repair our submitter's car after he sent them his dashcam footage. Before we leave you this week, we wanted to remind our viewers to be careful when driving this winter. This subscriber sent us his dashcam footage showing a truck sliding into the ditch while struggling along an icy road. Thankfully, the driver wasn't harmed, but this just goes to show how dangerous and unpredictable winter driving can be. Our subscriber wanted to shout out his daughter Thea, who asked him to send us this footage. Thanks, Thea. We've got no shortage of winter driving wrecks to show you. Here are 2 more episodes to check out if that's your thing. Don't forget to send us your videos using the link in the description and subscribe so you won't miss next week's upload. See you then!
Wham! Bam! We got a Patreon man. Please support the show.